Hello and welcome once again to The Old Man Speaks. I'm Joshua. I come to you 3 times a week for 5 minutes. Got a lot to cover today. Number 30 and 31 that come before this are thematically connected. So if you haven't seen those, watch that before you watch this, or you won't know what I'm talking about. So I have some good emails here. One from Esther. There are a few points I want to make before I get into what she said. First of all, she is more talking about the individual. And my thought is that anything that exists within the individual also exists on a communal and a societal level. So anytime she talks about the person, you can also put in the idea that this also reflects a truth in society. This is what she wrote, or at least part of it. My thoughts about this in general, and we're talking about core values, about change, about inner conflicts, are that awareness and acceptance are a precursor to change. You cannot consciously change something that is unconscious. Awareness is critical. Acceptance of flaws is also critical. A person has to be able to honestly look at and accept where they are in the present moment before attempting to change. If we're too focused on trying to change, we may end up pushing our negative traits into our subconscious so we can feel that we've changed when we actually haven't. A large part of change is accepting the suffering of where we are now. And Esther gives 3 books for further reading that have helped her understand greatly. I'm going to put the names of these books below the video. My brother is a college professor, and he has a specialty in social and political sciences. So I've had a lot of good talking on the phone with him, probably topics that are way too broad for what we're talking about. But we briefly talked about resolving internal conflict caused by living in a world that violates its own core values and looking for classic models or theories. And he, first of all, asked me for better definition of my terms that I've used. So I'd like to pause from his letter to me and talk a little bit about my own core statement, which I stated in number 30. It seems to me that the requirement for a civil society so that we treat other living creatures and all matters in this world with respect and kindness. Dan points out, my brother, that words are very difficult to deal with in terms of trying to describe things that are true because they're always very general, very broad, and they point to truths, but they don't actually give you the truth. So we try and use more and more words. I liken it to trying to find an extremely small point but having no decimal places to work with. So you're pointing to the general area, but can still totally misfire. So you use more words, more numbers to try and try and find the place where you want to be. But it's just pointing to the general area. That's kind of what it's like. So in my core statement, I meant to say with respect that there was a certain amount of awe. And of course, part of awe includes fear, but not the negative connotation of fear. You go and you see the Grand Canyon or some massive, beautiful part of nature, and your breath is taken away, and you're amazed. Your mind is full of wonder, but there's also an element of self preservation, of fear. What if I fall off this cliff and what would happen to me? There you have respect. So you have awe before you have respect. So I'm going to say now that all matters in this world should be treated with awe, respect, and kindness. My brother has been kind enough to share a book list, and he says that before we tackle the questions that we would like to address, please allow me to share with your viewers some of the sources that have helped shape my worldview with regard to the questions that we pose. And he has a nice reading list down there. I hope you find something you want to read and enjoy it. My final point is that maybe if we all adapted awe, respect, and kindness to a greater degree, we would see a better life. Until next time, see ya. Have a great weekend.